Good afternoon, everyone. Please be seated. First, a thank you to our student marshal, David Serrani, for leading our procession today. I'm Valerie Suslow, Professor and Vice Dean for Faculty and Research at the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. Welcome, students, alumni, family, friends, and faculty to the Carey Business School's spring graduation ceremony. It is great to be here in person. We are all much more than boxes on a screen. So give yourselves another round of applause for being here. We're delighted that you've chosen to join us for our momentous celebration of the graduates. Before we start, I would like to remind everyone as the ceremony proceeds, please leave your masks on throughout the ceremony. Graduates, when you walk across the stage, you're permitted to remove your mask as you're crossing the stage. Then we will ask you to put your mask back on as soon as you cross. It is my honor now to introduce Alexander Triantis, who's Dean of the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. He'll be presiding over today's graduation ceremony, so please join me in welcoming Dean Triantis.
Hello, and welcome students, family, and friends to the spring commencement of the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. I'm Dean Alex Triantis, and it is my privilege to preside over our ceremony. Graduations are joyful occasions, and I'm grateful that we are once again able to celebrate together in person. It has been far too long. It is also noteworthy today that we are celebrating the first class of graduates from our newly reimagined full-time MBA program. To all of our graduates today, congratulations on your great achievement. You have earned it. You've completed your studies, you've been put to the test, and proven more than worthy. As we celebrate your accomplishments, let us also recognize and thank those loved ones, teachers, and friends who guided you, supported you, and inspired you throughout your lives and careers. Your graduation comes at a time of great uncertainty. What once seemed destined is now in doubt as we face the spread of war, an unstable environment, an unrelenting pandemic, and the age-old scourges of discrimination and inequity. Times seem tough, but do not despair. Look to the future with optimism. As graduates, your challenge now is to take the experience you've gained, the adaptability you've shown, and the commitment you've demonstrated throughout your studies to make our world a safer, healthier, and more just and equitable place for all. You now have a wealth of business knowledge, new skills, and memorable experiences to meet the challenges ahead. As philanthropist Melinda Gates once said, optimism isn't a belief that things will automatically get better. It's a conviction that we can make things better. As you know, the Carey Business School motto is build for what's next. But the what's next will be up to you. As you enter a new phase of your lives and careers, I have no doubt that many of you will be at the forefront of change and helping to build a tomorrow full of potential and promise. Carey faculty and staff are sad to see you leave, but at the same time excited for your future. Please stay connected with us. We can't wait to hear of your plans and learn of your achievements. I wish you nothing but happiness and the best of luck in your continuing journeys. Now, I'd like to invite Anika Penn to the podium. Anika is president of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association and will offer a greeting to our latest graduates.
Good afternoon to the newest graduating class from the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. I am Anika Penn, Johns Hopkins Alumni Association President, University Trustee, and graduating class of 2010 from SAIS. On behalf of the Johns Hopkins Alumni Council and the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association, I want to congratulate you on your commencement and welcome you to the Johns Hopkins Global Alumni Community. Nearly 250,000 strong. I'm excited to introduce you to the next phase of your Hopkins journey. Like me, you chose Johns Hopkins for the opportunity to flourish in a university community with a diversity of experiences. Your alumni community extends beyond the Hopkins campus to a worldwide network that celebrates this community's diversity, whether you're a Carey Business School alum in Baltimore, a medicine grad in California, or a SAISer in Bologna, Italy. As the newest members of the Alumni Association, you'll find many opportunities to grow, remain active, both virtually and in person. I encourage each of you to connect with one another on OneHop, our exclusive virtual networking platform, and through social, cultural, identity, and industry-based events designed by and for our alumni community. From our school-based alumni weekends to our annual networking conferences to everything in between. Consider mentoring a current student. Continue to shape and manage your career path through Handshake. Explore Hopkins at Home, our online source for lectures, mini courses, and live events. Learn more about our lifelong learning opportunities, including our Odyssey non-credit programs and our virtual book club. Follow the Alumni Association's social media accounts, become a social media ambassador, and keep your contact information updated so you'll receive the latest university and association news. And don't forget to submit a class note to the Johns Hopkins magazine to let us know what you've been up to. On a personal note, I have been an active member of the Alumni Association since 2014 and have been honored to serve as a volunteer for the university in a multitude of roles. I hope you will join me and the thousands of other alumni who use these opportunities to enrich their lives, both personally and professionally. And in closing, I hope you remember that wherever you go, there are Hopkins alums where you are. There are Hopkins alums doing what you do. And most importantly, there are Hopkins alums doing what you want to do next. And we're here to connect you with them and the university. And if you don't find an opportunity that interests you, we'll help you create a group that best represents you and your interests. My heartfelt congratulations to each and every one of you. I hope this will be the first of many opportunities where our paths will cross. And as you go out and celebrate, remember you are forever a part of Hopkins. Now let's get you started on your alumni journey.
Thank you so much, Anika, for that warm welcome to our newest alums. Up next, we have two speakers representing our graduating class of 2022. First is Jennifer Sue Misgada, a graduate of our MA/MBA in Design Leadership program. She will speak on behalf of our part-time graduates. And afterwards, Tia Michelle Goodson, a graduate of the full-time MBA program, will speak on behalf of our full-time graduates.
Thank you, Dean Tireitas. Feels so good to be in person with all of you right now. I'm an advice columnist for Fortune Media and a senior media consultant focused on leadership, strategy, and innovation. I'm also a woman who would not have been able to give that introduction, let alone this entire speech, 2 years ago when I was struggling with some of my confidence and feeling imposter syndrome in a lot of my business meetings. I didn't know what I was getting into when I signed up for my MBA, but I knew I wanted the language of my business colleagues, to learn from inspiring people who have led groundbreaking teams, to dig deeper into data, and to join a community that encourages creative solutions to complicated problems. Carey has given all of that, and so much more. I had no idea when I got that acceptance letter in December 2019 how much Carey would prepare me and my fellow students to build for what's next. In the summer of 2020, I met my cohort over Zoom. What seemed like a temporary solution quickly became our new normal. Our school experience overlapped with one of the biggest periods of uncertainty in recent history. And we learned together through that change. I'm feeling a little emotional. They're all right here. I just love my MBA cohort so much. We learned how to collaborate with remote teams across vastly different time zones, from China to Italy to California. Clubs like Women in Business pivoted to virtual events, teaching students how to network online and connecting us with community partners like Living Classrooms, who helped us plan events for city school students. We learned to extend each other grace when someone forgot to go off mute, when the Wi-Fi was bad, when someone unexpectedly got sick. In my first year, I sometimes wished things were different. But now I've come to realize that this is one of the most transformational learning experiences I've ever had. Our graduating class is uniquely placed to navigate the new world of work and to lead organizations in new ways of thinking and doing. During the Great Resignation last year, I was one of thousands of Americans who left their jobs. With the skills I gained here, I was confident enough to launch my own business. And I'm not the only one. In my MA/MBA cohort, over 50% of us have already started new businesses since joining the program. Three of our colleagues, Aman Kar, Emma Karamshahi, and Julia Breskin, were just awarded $55,000 last month from the Upstart Competition and Entrepreneurial Accelerator. My colleagues have accepted jobs at IBM, Fidelity, the US government, and more, where they will be leading new business lines and collaborating with innovation teams. Our experiences building with each other have helped us build for what's next. Last summer, I got to co-run a consulting team through Design for America, where we did user research on new ways for Carey and SICE to collaborate on a potential new program. The Community Consulting Lab and City Lab gave many of us opportunities to tackle unique problems with clients and communities who were facing uncertainties last year. Mentors generously shared their time with us and expertise, coaching students like me as we grappled with how we would apply what we were learning here to our next steps. One of the most unexpected and powerful parts of my experience here has been connecting with leaders in different industries and hearing from students how they're leading every day. I came expecting to learn from experts, and I have, but I've also learned so much through peers in our many breakout rooms. Through classes and student groups like the Women as Leaders cohort, I saw students connect across programs and find strength in how many colleagues from different industries were managing change. Our experience has given us a robust network of diverse perspectives that we can tap into as we face our next challenge. Many of our classes helped us develop our own collaborative leadership style, as we've worked on teams, interviewed experts and community members to understand the environments we're working in. And we've used our insights to apply proven frameworks and experiment with new ways to work. I had no idea when I logged on to those first Zoom classes how much Carey would prepare me and my fellow students to build for what's next. Throughout my career, my mantra has been to build with, not for, a term coined by Laurel and McCann. As you go on to build for what's next, I encourage you to think about who you will build with. Remember to bring that openness to change and willingness to try something new to your next step. Consider who else needs to be at the table and how you can bring in their voices, amplifying those from people who aren't always heard. Think about the communities that you're building with and how you can make sure they're brought into the process. And tap into the resilience that you built during this time. You have accomplished an incredible feat by completing your degree during one of the biggest periods of change in recent history. Congratulations on joining a robust network of innovators who are trailblazing what's next. I know you worked hard to get here, and I'm proud to be building with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen, for those inspiring words. My name is Tia Goodson, and today I am honored to represent the full-time MBA class of 2022. At Carey, I have served as the co-president of the Full-Time MBA Association, as well as the vice president of alumni relations for the Black Graduate Student Association. Now, I am excited to stand along with 947 other exemplary individuals as a graduate of the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. This graduating class consists of students hailing from over 81 countries. 279 have served in the military, and 53% of us identify as female. While some students have navigated this program in its entirety via Zoom, many of us have matriculated here in the beautiful city of Baltimore, Maryland, a city that I call home. When you come from a place like Baltimore, you wear it like a badge of honor. You want to protect it because it becomes a source of pride, especially as you find yourself explaining away the legacy that television and movies have promoted about it for years. As someone who has spent a long time working behind the scenes of the film industry as a production coordinator and now as a producer, I have probably had twice as many, is it like The Wire, conversations than the average Baltimorean. Everyone wants to discuss The Wire. In fact, there is a pretty popular class at Carey centered around the TV show. But with all of the irritation that getting asked that question brings, what I have to admit about The Wire is that it has solidified a legacy, one that I both love and despise. Are the criminal scenarios in the TV show based in truth? Yes. Did the show employ a lot of Baltimore citizens? Yes. Was it filmed beautifully? Yeah. Is it arguably the greatest written piece of television of all time? Absolutely. However, while I acknowledge and appreciate part of its legacy, I am frustrated that the negative depictions often overshadow the many beautiful and meaningful historic elements of this charming city. I am almost certain that many of you were asked something similar when you decided to come to school here. I'm sure some of those people are in this room today. I hope, much like myself, either then or now, when you are asked about Baltimore and The Wire, you take the opportunity to share the duality of this show and the city's legacy. They say it is possible for two opposing things to be true at the same time, so it should be possible to both acknowledge and redefine this legacy in the same breath. And that's what I'd like to talk to you all about today, legacy. What is a legacy? A legacy is planting seeds in a garden that you never get to see, according to the hit Broadway musical Hamilton. As defined by the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, legacy is a noun, something transmitted by or received from a predecessor. Understanding this, we recognize that legacy can be given to us. Legacy can be personal and familial, and we often have absolutely no control over what those before us did and how that would one day shape how others see us or what privileges we may or may not receive as a result. Legacy can also be institutional and attached to organizations and entities in the same manner. We can ignore legacy's existence, uphold the legacy we've inherited, or we can acknowledge a legacy yet to choose to dismantle it. In business school, we spend a good amount of time analyzing corporations and considering how we would lead or start our own. We practiced this recently in our Leading Change and Ethical Leadership courses. In these courses, we learn to examine the legacy of a company and its leadership while taking into consideration how that history influences company culture, particularly when there is need for a change. Most recently, in a case competition through Carey's Center for Innovative Leadership, we examined the ethical responsibility that a company has to their local community. My team did not win that day. Shout out to the team that did. It was close, very close. But this event reinforced how a company's response in a time of crisis could deeply impact its legacy. We, this university, the Carey Business School, we are all part of this institution's legacy. Whether you agree with it or not, it is ours now. The legacy of Johns Hopkins has come under question over the years, and regardless which narrative you believe, his name is now emblazoned on our diplomas. A relative of Hopkins, James Carey, was an 18th century port merchant, councilman, and Quaker abolitionist. Our business school's existence can partially be attributed to a substantial gift from his great-great-grandson, who committed to his family's legacy, gave because he believed in restoring the city to the commercial glory his forebears knew, and set out to permanently ensure that the Carey name was once more associated with Baltimore's economic revival. This is the duality of legacy. Legacies are not devoid of scrutiny, examination, or multiple interpretations. However, what a legacy does come with is responsibility. A responsibility to make sense of what has been bestowed upon us and to decide how to move forward. In any case, a legacy can inspire us to be better, to do better, and to go farther. Legacies can also be daunting. It can be difficult to know whether you can or even want to live up to one that has been left for you, but you always have a choice. Whether it is legacy of our university, the legacy of family, or of an affinity group, it is up to you to decide what you do with that charge. As a student navigating multiple identities and intersectionalities, I feel an obligation to my groups to show up authentically. In a world that seems to advocate for assimilation, that has taught anyone who is different to play down what makes them unique, don't be too much of this. Make sure you speak this way. Be aware of your passion being mistaken as aggression. I choose to show up as my authentic self. I've realized that this idea of assimilation is so innately ingrained in structures, particularly in business, that it is not only the actions of others, but the internalized opinions and negative self-talk of those deemed different that can be most harmful. It's self-destructive and self-deprecating to make yourself less so others can feel more comfortable. I hope that the way I've authentically entered rooms has given others the permission to show up as themselves. This is the legacy I have chosen, to err on the side of redefining legacies that no longer serve the world in which I want to live, and embracing the ones that empower me as a change maker. So I ask you all today, what will you choose? What legacies will you accept and strive to live up to? What legacy will you create? What legacy will you reshape and re-envision? Whatever it is that you choose, I ask you to always, in each moment, just aim to push the needle forward. If any of you have ever dealt with anxiety as I have, you know that anxiety exists when you spend too much time in the past or in the future. So while I am charging you to move forward, I don't want you to have anxiety about this responsibility or life after graduation. Your journey is a marathon. Progress can happen moment to moment, minute to minute, hour to hour. Focus on what's in front of you and consistently assess what decisions you are making in the present. As you set off to preserve or reshape a legacy while creating your own, I encourage you to consider the following. Challenge antiquated systems and innovate new and better ways of doing and being. Make the things and people you come in contact with better. Strive for relentless advancement. Question first, then question some more. Just because something is does not mean that it should be. Explore and discover this world, its people, and its places. Attempt to make your small world reflective of the larger world you want to see. As you age, always seek knowledge. A wise person knows that they know nothing at all. Live with boundless curiosity. People-centered companies thrive. Companies that place importance on the community surrounding them are consistently labeled the best places to work by their employees. Grow and create businesses with unwavering humanity. Shape strong organizations and foster healthy relationships. You are only as strong as your team. We achieve nothing alone. Diverse teams are successful. Don't shy away from external collaboration or developing partnerships. This is how we all win. If you want to go further, go together, and at the center of it all, be good to one another. Demonstrate collaborative leadership. And lastly, with an eye toward the future and the legacy you wish to leave behind, build for what's next. Thank you, Carey Business School faculty, and especially the staff who really serve as the backbone of this institution, for the experience and support. Thank you to the family members, friends, and spouses that encouraged and supported us on this journey. Thank you to all of my fellow graduates for the good times and the experience that allowed us to grow and learn together. And lastly, thank you, Dean Triantis and Carey leadership for conferring upon us our degrees today. Graduates, as you step out of these doors this afternoon, I invite you all to give yourselves permission to show up authentically in every room you enter and strive to be a leader that builds a legacy that will make future generations proud. Congratulations, and I can't wait to see what you all create. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer and Tia. Those were outstanding speeches. Really appreciate that. Well, next we are pleased to recognize those students who have distinguished themselves throughout their academic careers at Carey Business School. The Edward J. Stegman Memorial Award for Excellence in Business Scholarship is awarded to those graduates with the highest GPA in the full-time MBA program, the full-time MS program, and the part-time programs. Please rise when I call your name. For our full-time programs, the recipients are Michael Kent, Master of Business Administration, full-time. Merritt Ackman, Master of Science, full-time. For our part-time programs, the recipient is Jimmy Kang, Master of Business Administration, part-time. Congratulations to our honorees. As an accredited member of AACSB International, distinguished Carey Business School graduates can join Beta Gamma Sigma, the International Honor Society of AACSB accredited business programs. Carey Business School students in the top 20% of their class are invited to join this prestigious honor society. I ask that those graduates who are now members of Beta Gamma Sigma to please stand so that we recognize you with a round of applause.
Each year, the Johns Hopkins Alumni Association presents Excellence in Teaching Awards at commencement to faculty members across the entire university who go above and beyond in their commitment to educating our students. The Carey Business School Awards are voted on by the Carey students. And this year we have two outstanding recipients, Dr. Nasser Nakandish and Dr. Xian Sun. And I'm going to ask them to join me at the podium in just a moment, but first let me tell you a little bit about their accomplishments. Nasser Nakandish is an assistant professor of practice in operations management and business analytics at Carey. His research interests include inventory management and capacity planning, although you won't be surprised to hear that he's been working on a paper that has to do with innovative education. This year, he has taught operations management, statistics, Python for data analysis, and simulation for business applications. As an example of what students admire about Professor Nakandish's teaching, In his operations management class, students commented on his knowledge, his enthusiasm, the meticulous design of teaching materials, and how he supports students, and this is a quote, to achieve great things. So we congratulate Professor Nakandish, and let me move to our second awardee before we bring them both up here. So Xian Sun is Professor of Practice in Accounting and Finance at Carey. We're pleased to recognize her once again, as we did last year. In addition to her teaching, she's engaged in corporate finance research. And as an example of what students admire about Professor Sun's teaching, in one of her accounting and financial reporting classes this year, students commended her knowledge and her patience in explaining complicated concepts, as well as, and I quote, a multitude of resources to allow the students to fully understand and apply the concepts. So I congratulate Professor Sun as well and ask them to both join me at the stadium here.
Now it is my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Mrs. Andrea Weiss. Ms. Weiss is founder of the O Alliance and CEO of Retail Consulting, a global consulting practice focused on the retail, e-commerce, and consumer sector. For more than 30 years, she's been in senior leadership with some of the world's foremost retailers, and she is recognized as a pioneer in creating a seamless customer experience and helping retailers to transform the digital space. As a consultant, her clients include private equity firms such as BlackRock, CVC, and SoftBank. Prior to establishing her own consulting business, she had extensive experience developing high-level business strategy and held executive leadership roles at Delia, The Limited, Guess, Ann Taylor, and the Walt Disney Company. Ms. Weiss currently serves on the boards of Bed Bath & Beyond, Cracker Barrel Restaurant, O'Reilly Auto Parts, RPT Realty, and the Fisher Company, a private real estate services and technology firm. Throughout her career, she has also worked to open doors for women and other underrepresented groups. She is vice chair of the board of trustees at Hampton University, a historically black university in Virginia, and we are very grateful for her service to the Dean's Advisory Board here at the Carey Business School. Ms. Weiss earned a master's degree in administrative science from Johns Hopkins and a Bachelor of Fine Arts from Virginia Commonwealth University. She has also completed postgraduate studies at Harvard Business School and at Northwestern's Kellogg School. So please welcome our speaker, Ms. Andrea Weiss.
Oh, goodness. Well, good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to be back in Baltimore. And although it's a bit of a gray and chilly spring day in Baltimore, there is so much love and warmth in this room to celebrate the class of 2022. I want to send a special shout out to the parents, the families, and the friends that are here to celebrate our graduates today. And my deepest appreciation to Dean Triantis and Vice Dean Suslow and the entire administration, faculty, and staff at Carey. Thank you very much. I'm honored to be able to be addressing the class of 2022. And knowing that this is the first in-person graduating class in 2 years, it is particularly humbling. I suppose that every graduating class feels that their educational experience is unique. But no class has ever had a story quite like the class of 2022. This is a class who has experienced and overcome so much uncertainty, change, adversity, pivots, hybrid learning experiences, and hours of screen time to meet the degree requirements. May I be one of the first to congratulate you on your achievement and to recognize the tenacity of the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School class of 2022. Now, being asked to give a commencement speech is truly one of life's biggest honors. But preparing for it, well, that's one of life's most challenging tasks. Commencement speakers every year comb through subject matter and content, and if they're like me and a graduate of Hopkins, they do research, they gather data, and perhaps they even watch a few YouTube videos about the top 10 best speeches ever given at a commencement. And boy, is that intimidating. It goes something like this. I cured cancer. I founded Apple. And by the name, my name is Oprah. It's a very, very high bar. But the goal of delivering a speech to inspire and launch graduates out into life and into the workplace is the goal of every speaker. And each speaker hopes to leave you with one or two nuggets that you may remember one day when asked, what did they talk about at your commencement? But when I went through that research, and after reviewing the most common commencement themes, they were things like dealing with change, embracing failure or disappointment, overcoming adversity, encouraging a belief in oneself, fostering optimism, or never giving up on learning. And I must say, all of those seem to really pale when addressing a class that had actually lived that experience for the last 2 years, doing all of the above. So in this unique moment in time, what are the messages that could cut through the COVID fog and the malaise? And why am I the messenger to be delivering that message today? Well, first, as you heard, I'm a proud alum of Carey and a member of the Dean's Advisory Committee. But that is certainly not the reason why I'm here addressing you today. My journey to Carey and to this podium started in the most unlikely of places. It started at the mall. Now, I checked. While there are many non-academics who address commencement classes, many athletes, film stars, pop singers, authors, college dropouts even, or politicians and journalists, I am the first mall rat to have the honor. So a little more on that later, and a little explanation on the mall rat. So as I stand here today, I can't help but reflect on my own Hopkins graduation day. On that day, it was a beautiful spring day, and we were on the Homewood campus. And the commencement speaker was a young man named Kurt Schmoke, the current president of the University of Baltimore. At that time, Kurt had recently been elected as the first African-American mayor of Baltimore. And while I don't remember the specifics of the speech, I do recall that being first was a message that he landed very well. And that message has resonated with me since leaving Hopkins. And it may be why you have the first mall rat as your commencement speaker. Now, as I said, since some of you may not recall a world before Amazon, and you may not even know what a mall rat is, the mall was a place where people used to shop for clothing and footwear and books and music, and pretty much all other basic items. And in the 1980s, America had been on a full-throttle shopping mall building boom. More than 1,300 malls had exploded across America. And that boom had created job opportunities, particularly for a young woman who had an undergraduate degree in fine arts. So essentially, my qualifications were, I was blonde, I could eminently paint, qualified to paint and draw, but what the market felt a new MBA or a BFA should do was fold sweaters, ring a cash register, and that's where I started my career, as a mall rat, working in a retail store. Well, 7 years later, I was a district manager of a national women's apparel company. And we had multiple stores here in the Baltimore, Washington area, and I was responsible for leading those stores. And while I had significant human resources, P&L, real estate, and asset protection responsibilities, and I did like the fashion aspect of the business, I thought that there had to be more. So the possibilities of getting a master's degree danced in my head. And thankfully, I found in an underutilized employee benefit, in the fine print in an HR bulletin, what would help me finance my education. I was literally off to graduate school at the Johns Hopkins University. Well, I had actually never anticipated how ill-prepared I may be compared to my fellow students who had come from programs in undergraduate degrees in things like economics, engineering, marketing, computer science. But I was so determined to succeed, okay, I pushed through. And I was determined to graduate in record time. I'm completely convinced that somehow I must have actually willed some of my grades. One story that comes to my mind was having a prerequisite class in quantitative analysis. The only way to avoid taking the level 1 course was to have an exemption from the dean. And taking that level 1 course was going to add another full semester to my timeline. So somehow I convinced the dean that my current business experience included enough areas of analytics that I should move to level 2. And he granted the exemption. But that didn't mean I was actually prepared for the work. The first night of the level 2 class, I realized I didn't even know the meaning of some of the mathematical notations which were being written on the board. That semester, I taught myself those notations and the algorithms, and I landed an A on the final exam. And to this day, I'm not sure how. Then came linear programming, and that also was an A. And then my micro and macroeconomics courses, which were a bit of a blur, also ended up with A marks. So what I had discovered about myself at Carey was that this right-brained, blonde mall rat was also pretty good, had a pretty good left brain, and that my thinking style was linear as well as circular. So when I was sitting at my graduation, listening to Kurt Schmoke, I was slowly beginning to believe that I too may be able to be first at something. Now, many of my classmates that year moved on to Wall Street. There was a major bull market underway, which had started in 1982. And some encouraged me to follow and to become an analyst covering retail stocks at a major brokerage firm. But I actually had a passion for consumer behavior, for managing people and achieving results. So with others telling me that I was wasting my newly minted degree, including my mother, I decided to stick with retail and try to build a career doing something I loved. When only a few months later, on October 19th of 1987, Wall Street experienced Black Friday, resulting not only in an unprecedented drop in the stock market, but ultimately the elimination of hundreds of Wall Street jobs, I was very grateful that I had followed my passion versus my ego or my mother's advice. And although no matter how far I progressed in the retail industry, my mother still told people she works in the mall. In the 35 years since leaving Johns Hopkins, I've had many firsts and also many reinventions. My Johns Hopkins degree did not guarantee this. It only opened the door of opportunity. For the class of 2022, you'll have many doorways presented to you. You will need to make that first step through the door, and then what you do on the other side of the door will be what matters. Now, sometimes when my door opened, I stepped in to be the first female in the C-suite, or the first woman named as president, or a woman leading a public offering on the New York Stock Exchange, or to be given an international assignment, or even to be the first woman to join a company's board of directors. Most recently, my door opened to expand my universe into nonprofit leadership. Perhaps it was simply the time for women to have many firsts, but I like to think it was a little bit more intentional than that. I sought out doorways that would lead to personal growth opportunities if I would just step through them. And I opened doorways where I felt I could make an impact, and then I opened doors for others. As the class of 2022 looks beyond the educational chapter, it's important to note that the road ahead will not be linear, nor will the ladder metaphor, often used to describe upward mobility, actually apply. I challenge whether it ever really did. But today it's highly likely that you will face multiple career disruptions, and it's likely that your path and journey will be more like a meandering cow path, usually with a few boulders and the occasional cow pie along the way. But how you navigate the twists and turns and the occasional and unavoidable ill-placed footing is what really matters. Carey has undoubtedly educated you well, as have the unprecedented events of the last 2 years. This too is part of your educational experience. It's actually hard to think that COVID or the political climate is a blessing. But these events have developed within you a set of experiences that have uniquely prepared you to work life ahead. So please accept and embrace all of those lessons. Your class will be the leaders of future organizations which will have the greatest sense of purpose built into the business model. From your experience, you'll bring the greatest consideration for the well-being of the workforce along with you. And you will have the most diverse workforce in history. This will allow you to see and develop talent everywhere within the organizations you either join or the organizations you create. And developing talent is a true competitive advantage in business. You have the collaboration and agility skills which can launch a new wave of innovation to solve national and global challenges, to conserve and protect resources, to develop new systems and technologies to advance society. And you will also build profitable companies. Your native technology skills will be balanced with a deeper understanding of the power and need for human interaction. Your resilience will allow you to bounce back from disappointment or failures quickly, creating generations of pioneers are ready to test their limits. You possess within you the curiosity and the humanism to both utilize AI and to appropriately harness its potential for abuse. And with your healthy dose of skepticism, it will allow you to challenge groupthink, to seek truth, to address societal problems, while preserving cherished values, healing the damage of polarization or the indoctrination of ideology. So as you can tell, I am optimistic and hopeful for the class of 2022. It was difficult to find optimism during the middle of the pandemic. I know it was for me. And I can only imagine what it felt like as a student, thinking about what the business climate would be that would await you. The uncertainty and fear at times was overwhelming. One of the things that helped me during that period was a recommendation from Dean Triantis to read John Barry's book, The Great Influenza, where Johns Hopkins' role during the 1918 influenza epidemic is predominantly featured. The final words of the book focus on lessons for leaders in times of crisis and beyond. And while those lessons were over 100 years ago, they're also the lessons for the leaders graduating today. To paraphrase Barry's words, those who occupy positions of authority must maintain trust. And society is ultimately based on trust. When trust breaks down, people become alienated not only from those in authority, but from each other. My personal unique hope for the members of the Johns Hopkins Carey class of 2022 as you move into the business world is that you will each bring your real and authentic selves, that you are armed with all your lived and educational experiences, and that you open the door of opportunity as it's provided to you and benefiting from the degree conferred here today. But when you step through that doorway, that you will be intentional about what you do on the other side of the door. You're in a very unique moment in history, and you too can be a first. You can be the first to help build trust in authority, to eliminate alienation, which has crept into the workplace, to examine multiple sides of problems, and to end crippling divisiveness. By bringing forward some of the true empathetic lessons taught by COVID and using those skills with those whom you may have little or no common ground, you can distinguish the 2022 graduates as a class of true healers, reestablishing faith in leadership and respect for authority. It's a big mission, but this class, a class of Johns Hopkins, is ready to be first. I look forward to seeing what doors you will walk through and what you can do on the other side. And I know each and every one of you will make Carey very proud. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Weiss, for sharing your story and inspiring our graduates. Now it's time to recognize our graduates. And as the graduates' names are called, they'll cross the stage and be greeted by Dean Triantis. As a reminder, graduates are permitted to remove their masks when crossing the stage, and then after you cross the stage, please put your mask back on as you make your way back to your seat. The first to be recognized will be those students who have earned a degree of Master of Business Administration. Although it will be hard to do, I ask that you please hold your applause for individual graduates and instead applaud following the groups of graduates for each degree program. Additionally, I would like to ask our guests not to approach the stage for photographs because each of the graduates will have their picture taken. Will the Master of Business Administration candidates, they're ahead of me already, part-time flexible format, seated in rows 1 and 2, please rise and form the procession. And I'd like to invite Professor Kevin Frick to please come to the podium to announce the graduates.
Will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Business Administration, flexible format, come forward as your names are called. Samantha Spiga Marmon. Madeline Lee Manhoff. Casey Allen Braun. Javier de la Rosa. William Lewis Gravis, Jr. Saori Okubo. Sanjanthi Velu. Yuchen Hu. Claire Seabury Mueller. Catherine E. Gerson. Artur Suherjevsky. Seth Christopher Raval. Chidia Berry Ariri. A. J. Arobobo. Mohammed Konfru. Ajay Singh Huda. Ernest Tipote Roberts. Suman Mann. Ray Mack. Emily Page Rothschild. James Adam Rothschild. A. Theta Lynn. Rachel Jiyoung Che Lee. Muyuan Yang. Ruoyu Wang. Thomas G. Enderly. Stephen Edward Spencer. Marina Diopoulos Pappas. Jimmy Kang. Iren Ganeva. David J. Sorani. Emily Rosalina Aness. Ellie Nam. Lindsay Sarah Moskowitz. Iman C. Carr. Jennifer Sue Mizgata. Emma Campo Karamshahi. Omar Bania. Julia Lisette Breskin. Michelle Poliak. Guy Earl Wendell DeWeaver II. Dr. Caress Adrian Spencer. Kelly Okiagin Dowd. Kai Ding. Nikki Curtis Betts. Manjula Das. Marissa Jean Dean. Taya Rosenbaum. John Richard Lupa Jr. Ravi Sambangi. Mihail Zilberman. Paul Alphonse Jr. Josephine Inez Kedu. Alexia Scott Billiart. Andrew James O'Donnell. Brian Allen Middleton. Sabrina Iqbal. Sarah Kavianpur. Rakshith Kata. Charles Vesley. Elizabeth K. Kais. Nadezhda Henry. Shlomo Rosenstein. Mohsin Gilani. Hamza Tariq Chowdhury. Tomo Kura. Julene Jeff Lee. Ruth Mariam George. Minori Amasaria. Samantha Ariel Marks. Rachel Silver. Megan L. Thorpe. Kauser Begum Riaz Ahmed. Hasiba Joanna Betab. Mary Catherine Comont. Christina Leigh Short. Abraham Diaz. Aneen Wynn. Oluwatimis Victory Oluwajoba. Bibek Sharma. Q Huang. Erica Nelson. Jennifer Lynn Zile Maishak. Hazel Sarah. Helen Claire Shaw. Tolulope Oyeyemi Olade. Gilbert Soon. Dr. Bertram E. Lacey, MD. Neela Rafiq. Catherine Frances Hines. Luis Gonzalez. Minsun Lee. Abraham Kamhi. Dr. Dinah Price. Dr. Soni Kekula Owusu. Dr. Ederonke Akindipe. Dr. Sanita Jiwa. Dr. Ida Will. Dr. Audrey Cesarine Cleet. Dr. Angela Joan Primo. Dr. Jessica McIntyre. Margaret Song. Dr. Tiffany Louise Desadier. Dr. Aaron McDavid Baird. Eric Scott Lee. Miguel Antonio Carrillo. Raben Bumatai Talvo. Shanisa Nazila Chowdhury. Zach Praw. And will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Business Administration in the full-time format come forward as your names are called. Ola Ajayi. Sarah Nabia. Sarah Zaheen. Chisum Munachi Ezine Zeru Azudo. Ashley Johnston. Scott Goldman. Haley Hoagland. Emily Ann Pantalone. Amelia Ann Murphy. Megan Fitzgerald. Dr. Carlos A. Acosta. Micaela Labert. Gabrielle Angelica Abisamis. Abhinaya Suresh. Mirza Sulaiman Beg. William Robert Deneen. Mendel Avzin. Matthew Spivak. Michael Wells. Nathan Chandler Temple. Jacob Dylan Augustus Kraus. Abhay Anand. Jack Fisher. Christian Franco. Muhammad Ali Medhi. Peiji Cheryl Chia. Kelly Tubman White. Anthony Lamont Waters Jr. Tia Michelle Goodson. Jordan Erica Danso. Christian Dynell Strobel. Charlandra Yvette Williams. Randy D'Angelo Washington, Jr. Margaret Margawati Tahalele. Brooke Oxner. Aaliyah Ashley Marks. Anna Myroshnichenko. Amarachi Gozier Ongu. Omita Catherine Henry. Allison Lee Camp. Julia Kathleen Cavallo. Logan Renee Edmondson. Angelo Robert Bell. Sukeina Alkunezi. Spriha Modi. Francis Anthony. Abhishek Hariharun Kandluri. Nikita Jindal Guha. Bingying Zhang. Susanna Ga Ram Kim Kishinami. Cynthia Amezqua. Jordan Hartican Savold. Madeline Ann Howard. Tomas Gonzalo Delia. On behalf of the school and the university, I would like to congratulate the most recent group of Master of Business Administration graduates. Will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Science, Business Analytics, and Risk Management come forward as your names are called? Qingyuan Yang. Chaochuan Chen. Zhiyuan Ying. Wanting Xiong. Yichen Shi. Luyan Zhou. Anna Shi. Yixin Chen. Ziwei Dang. Yiying Chen. Yuchen Zhao. Chuqiao Sheng. Sijie Liu. Jiajuan Tao. Guanjing Cao. Fei Teng. Yishuan Tang. Jing Dai. Weiwen Qi. Sui He. Xinjie Yu. Mingming Liu. Nana Grover. Jiazheng Zhou. Tao Xing. Jiwei Zheng. Jiuzhou Zhao. Muchuan Guo. Xuan Peng. Yichen Song. Chris Malunga. Wenjuan Li. Shua Chen. Jiaxin Xiao. Kailin Li. Wei Yao Wang. Xinyu Zheng. Yuhang Li. Yang Yan, Ruifeng Li, Maozhou Sun, Zhengshuan Yu, Yishuan Yang, Sunny Xiao, David Solomon Kahana, Tianyuan Tsai, Siyu Chen. And on behalf of the school and on the university, I would like to congratulate the most recent group of Master of Science, Business Analytics and Risk Management graduates. Will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Science Finance come forward as your names are called? Chi Chen, Roy Duan, Yi Zhao, Pengyan Chen, Xiwei Liu, Yueyang Li, Tonghao Zhen, Lu Yao He, Ruichu Chen, Qianhao Yu, Xinhui Huang, Jingzi Huang, Nan Jia, Yafan Zhang, Ziwei Chen, Bowen Yang, Weiwen Zhou, Kayan Ma, Guangran Li, Meng Dai, Shuyan Fang, Yuhan Liu, Shuyun Liang, Wenxuan Feng, Yuqiong Hu, Jiaoyi Meng, Yiwan Li, Huixi Zhang, Jiayu Zhang, Zhuanhan Yu, Mingzi Ni, Xiaoqing Ning, Casey Nicole McKenzie, Ju Un An, Aichi Xie, Hui Lin, Sijie Luo, Suki Lee, Jiahe Liu, Jiaran Li, Tian Xia, Yi Wu, Fangwen Chen, Juanyu Liu, Jillian Dai, Nan Cui, Zixiao Huang, Zi Chen, Jiwen Xia, Xinkang Zhang, Jie Li, Mert Akman, Shuyang Liu, Tiantian Wang, Shi Zhou, Sadie Guzman Celaya, Xi Wang, Yiqing Zhang, Guoyu Xie, Jishuan Liu, Songji Zhai, Ying Liu, Wenshu Wang, Yuchen Wang, Yujie Xia, Xiaoyu Zhang, Yiming Tang, Yifei Zhu, Jiquan Hu, Qin Han, Mengyang Shu, Tianyu Wang, Shuxian Zhong, Yijuan Zhang, Yuehan Wang, Yue Li, Chu Wei Fen, Tongxin Lin, Lin Wang, Huaji Ye, Jiawei Guo, Ao Xie, Zhifeng Ye, Wucheng Gu, Changhua Li, Qianyue Liu, Reishuan Liu, Wenfeng Su, Wenhua Wan. Ziyao Li. Xinyi Liu. Jiachen Zhu. Gotami Gunasekura. Xiaomin Li. Clive Jonathan Adams. Chuhan Wang. Lanli Feng. Frank William Bradley, Jr. Victor Akajanyan. Andrew Jerome Lancy. Mason Chavez. Xuan Li. Mark Lodato. Wilton Everett Red. Marcela Montoya. Danming Zhang. Pengyu Chen. Mu Zheng. Jiacheng Wang. Chen Hua. Tong Su. Chuanyu Huang. Haozhi Jian. Menglin Lin. Milai Zhou. Shimin Wang. Yuying Wang. On behalf of the school and the university, I would like to congratulate the most recent group of Master of Science Finance graduates. Will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Science Healthcare Management come forward as your names are called? Lillian Shamin Chen. Veronica Chang Smith. Vianney Elizabeth Romo. Jennifer Eccles Blanton. Hinal Patel. Anisha Kumar. Bruce Lin. Byron Palace Chung. Jamie Diggs. Oluwatobi Oluwato. June Pack. Dinah Nguyen. Alyssa Erin Spiteri. Rodning Zhang. Quincy Xie. Brianna Dunn Taylor. On behalf of the school and the university, I would like to congratulate the most recent group of Master of Science Healthcare Management graduates. Will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Science Information Systems come forward as your names are called? Lee Min Sang. Gangping Chen. Xiaoyu Ding. Yimei Tong. Wuhua Feng. Jing Gao. Yue Tang. Minda Zhang. Shuting Lei. Raihan Nadifa Ridwan Putra. Mudza Li. Yuanquen Chen. Weihao Wang. Yao Cai. Zhujuan Li. Shuying Di. Haoqi Wang. Ray Huang. Qingjuan Gao. Haitong Ni. On behalf of the school and the university, I would like to congratulate the most recent group of Master of Science Information System graduates. Will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Science Marketing come forward as your names are called? Kelly Montgomery. Jianan Wei. Yuanyi Xiao. Suzhi Gao Gu. Shengyi Kang. Shuhan Yang. Zurong Chen. Lingying Feng. Ziyi Chen. Zoe Alexis Schimberg. Samuel Gravel. Dongqi Liu. Ingchu Chen. Paria Pusayapaibu. Xijing Cheng. Jingtong Zhang. Xiangxi Chen. Yashin Angelina Chen. Ruqi Liang. Sixuan Zhang. Haoxiang Qin. Reishi Mitsudome. Tian Frank Tan. Ling Yi Jung. Yan Hong. Ke Dai. Mu Wu. Chun Jia. Taryn Phillips. Sonia Sukumar. Amitika Thakur. Songling Chen. Sichuan Zhufu. Tammy Ha Attridge. Poonam Sidhu. Beijia Guo. Ting Wang. Zixuan Chen. Xinyan Tan. Zhe Chu. Xinyang Han. Han Zhang. Jiaqi Lin. Ge Chen. Tao Shu. Sijia Geng. Zhao Liu. Yixiao Li. Yutong Chen. Yao Fu. Jiafan Li. Haoyue Cao. Xuanning Deng. Jiayin Wu. Wenxuan Zhou. Qiyuan Yang. Wei Sun. Huizhen Tai. Geshi Zhu. Sui Yao. Xiaojie Ren. On behalf of the school and the university, I would like to congratulate the most recent group of Master of Science Marketing graduates. Will the graduates who will be awarded the degree of Master of Science Real Estate and Infrastructure come forward as your names are called? Christian Andreas DiPaco Priest. Baron Chu. Jiaoqing Liu. Wendy Gao. Yuchen Wang. On behalf of the school and the university, I would like to congratulate the most recent group of Master of Science, Real Estate and Infrastructure graduates.
So before we close out our ceremony, I would like to have a round of applause for Professor Kevin Frick and his outstanding reading of the name. Our ceremony today is nearly over. Before we go, I'd like to add my welcome to the graduating class into the family of alumni of the Johns Hopkins Carey Business School. You are our school's most valued ambassadors, and we look forward to your continued involvement as alumni. And thank you to everyone for attending today and for making our event a truly wonderful celebration. And I will hand it back to Dean Triantis.
Thank you, Chief Marshal Suslow. Once again, I want to congratulate our graduates today. Well done. Before we conclude, I want to take a quick moment to recognize two senior leaders within the business school from whom you've heard today. Professor Kevin Frick, who read the student names, served as Vice Dean of Education for 8 years before stepping down at the beginning of this past academic year. Professor Valerie Suslow, our Chief Marshal today, has served for 7 years as Vice Dean of Faculty and Research and will be stepping down from that role later this year. I want to publicly use this opportunity to thank them both for being outstanding leaders who were instrumental in growing the Carey Business School, achieving our AACSB accreditation 5 years ago and reaccreditation this past year, and for developing many of the programs that bring great students, faculty, and staff to the Carey Business School. So please join me in thanking them for their service to Carey Business School and to Johns Hopkins. Thank you to the families and friends for being here with us today and to everyone watching us on the internet. I would also like to thank our faculty and staff who worked so hard in putting together our ceremony and for making this a truly special occasion. Guests, please remain at your seats until all faculty and graduates have left the auditorium. And I will now ask the faculty and honored guests with me on stage to please rise.